There is a place on Earth so deep that if Mount Everest were dropped into it, the summit would still remain more than a mile underwater. This place exists right now beneath the Pacific Ocean, hidden in absolute darkness, far beyond the reach of sunlight, beyond the reach of pressure most materials can withstand, beyond the reach of almost every living thing on this planet. It is known as Challenger Deep, the deepest known point on our planet, and it is stranger than you can imagine. Most people imagine the ocean as a vast blue world filled with fish, coral reefs, and marine life. A place of color, warmth, and light. That image is accurate for the very top of the ocean, but the ocean is not flat and uniform. It is a vertical world layered by light, temperature, and pressure. And the deeper you descend, the more alien it becomes. Deeper still, darkness takes over completely. Below 1,000 meters lies the midnight zone. No sunlight, no photosynthesis, no warmth from the surface above. The ocean becomes an alien environment where survival depends on extraordinary adaptations. Pressure mounts with every meter. Temperatures hover near freezing. Food becomes scarce. And yet, life persists, drifting through the absolute dark, navigating by vibration and chemical signal, flashing cold light into emptiness. Yet even these depths are not the deepest part of the ocean. Far below lies something far more extreme. Located in the western Pacific Ocean, east of the Mariana Islands, lies the deepest geological feature on Earth, the Mariana Trench. It formed over millions of years through a process called subduction, where the ancient Pacific Plate slides beneath the Mariana Plate, forcing the ocean floor downward into a vast, curving gash in the Earth's crust. The trench stretches for more than 2,500 kilometers, longer than the continental United States from coast to coast, and within it lies the lowest point on Earth's surface. Challenger Deep. Perhaps the most unsettling fact about Challenger Deep is how little we understand it. Scientists estimate that more than 80% of Earth's oceans remain unmapped, unobserved, and largely unexplored. We have better maps of the surfaces of Mars and the Moon than we do of our own ocean floor. And what little we have found raises uncomfortable questions. In 2018, researchers discovered a plastic bag at the bottom of Challenger Deep, the deepest piece of human-made debris ever recorded. At 11 kilometers below the surface, in a place humans had visited only a handful of times, the evidence of the world above had already arrived. The deepest place on Earth is not just a trench, it is a reminder of how much remains undiscovered. How much life exists in places we assumed were too extreme, too dark, too remote to support it. The Mariana Trench was here long before the first human walked on land. It will be here long after. Hidden beneath miles of water, in absolute silence and absolute darkness, it continues, indifferent to everything above it. Even today, The Mariana Trench continues to challenge our understanding of life, exploration, and the limits of human curiosity. The deepest place on Earth is waiting, most of it still unseen. Challenger Deep reaches a depth of nearly 11 kilometers. To understand that scale, imagine placing Mount Everest into the trench. The highest mountain on Earth would vanish completely, with more than a mile of water still above its peak. The pressure at Challenger Deep is almost impossible to comprehend. At sea level, the atmosphere exerts roughly 1 unit of pressure on everything around us. For every 10 meters of descent, that pressure increases by 1 full atmosphere. At the bottom of Challenger Deep, the pressure exceeds 1,000 times what we experience on the surface. A human without protection would be crushed almost instantly. Metal objects implode. Air collapses. Only materials specially engineered to withstand these forces can survive here. For most of human history, Challenger Deep remained not just unexplored, but unreachable. In 1960, 2 men changed that. Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh descended into the Mariana Trench aboard a deep-diving vessel called the Trieste. The descent took nearly 5 hours. They reached the bottom and spent just 20 minutes there, long enough to observe a flatfish resting on the sediment, long enough to confirm that the deepest place on Earth was not lifeless. It would be more than 50 years before humans returned. In 2012, filmmaker and explorer James Cameron made a solo dive to Challenger Deep aboard the Deep-Sea Challenger submersible, spending hours collecting samples from depths no single human had reached alone. In 2019, explorer Victor Vescovo descended even deeper, setting a new record for the deepest crewed dive in history. Each mission brought back new images, new samples, and new questions the previous mission had not thought to ask. At the surface, sunlight floods the water. Coral reefs bloom. Fish dart through shafts of gold and blue. But light does not last. At around 200 meters, sunlight becomes too weak to support most photosynthesis. The world of color gives way to something dimmer, colder, and stranger. This layer, stretching from 200 to 1,000 meters, is known as the Twilight Zone. Here, colors vanish. Red disappears first, then orange, then yellow, until only cold blue and violet remain. Then even those fade. Creatures in the Twilight Zone have evolved extraordinary features. Many have enormous eyes to catch the last traces of light. Others produce their own light through bioluminescence, using it to hunt, to hide, and to find mates in the growing dark. The anglerfish dangles its glowing lure. The viperfish flashes rows of light along its body.
The Pacific Ocean
The
remains
deep sea
largely
is not
untouched by
just
human
dark.
hands.
It is alive with its own cold fire. Despite absolute
across
darkness,
a third of the globe,
near
the
freezing
Pacific Ocean
temperatures,
remains
and
largely
crushing
untouched by
pressure,
human hands.
life exists at the bottom of Challenger Deep. The Mariana snailfish, a pale, translucent creature, holds the record as the deepest fish ever recorded, found at depths
Stretching
exceeding
across a third of the globe, the Pacific
8,300
Ocean
meters.
remains largely untouched
It should
by
not
human
exist
hands.
by any reasonable expectation, yet it does. Its body adapted to equalize pressure that would destroy most organisms. Giant amphipods, crustaceans resembling oversized shrimp, swarm the Hadal sediment, scavenging organic material that drifts from the world above. Sea cucumbers carpet the trench floor in ghostly processions. At these depths, life does not thrive the way it does in a coral reef. It endures quietly in the cold and the dark.